Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe, Nile Scala here, with my good pal, my co-host, my amigo, my compadre, Mr. Billy Tucci. How we doing, buddy?
What's up, Holmes? How are you, man?
Oh, hanging in there, bro. I'm pretty excited for tonight. We've got a great guest, an amazing co-host, a special
Absolutely.
guest co-host.
The dawn of a new era. I think you came up with this idea to do, our since our cosplay show last week with Jennifer Van Damsel was so big, was so popular, and why not do cosplay confidential?
Yes,
I want to
cosplay.
interview all of our cosplay friends and learn all about that craft, the ins and the outs, the highs and the lows.
Of the talented bunch they are.
Yep, and I don't know. I just think it's incredible. I mean, what they've been able to do, and but since you and I really don't know much about cosplay, we asked Jennifer if she would be, our guest host on the show with us, and she honored us by saying yes. So without further ado, why don't we bring in our new co-host, but also one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life, my son William's hero. One of the funniest guys, one of the best guys around, and just one of the most generous cosplayers. How he is with the fans and all. The world-renowned, world-known, real-life Peter Griffin, Mr. Robert Franzese. Where are you, buddy?
Hey,
I am humbled by your words, good sir.
welcome.
Say hello. Say hello, guys.
How's it going?
Hey guys.
Well, Jennifer, thank you for coming on with us and helping us out with this because, we've been friends for a long time and we had you as our first cosplay guest. And, but, there's a lot of things that you brought up that, we had no idea about. So we appreciate knowing that how involved you are in cosplay and all the good things you guys do and the joy you guys, spread. And it's pretty amazing. I think a big part of why comic books have gotten so popular with the mainstream is people like yourselves out there. So thank you guys very much for coming on our show, and we hope you have a good time. We hope we entertain you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I'm excited.
So Rob, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got into it? How did you find the real life Peter Griffin? Tell us, some of your, just give us a little insight.
Was it from deep within?
It was from deep within. I trained my body physically for decades for this moment. But I think the funniest thing is when I speak normally like I am now, and people just don't expect it because I'm wearing the costume. It's like you just expect me to sound like this is my regular speaking voice, but that's not the case. I've been cosplaying for 7 years now, which I really can't believe. I started in 2012 at New York Comic Con, just messing around with my friends. We dressed like Western. I dressed like Western Ghost Rider for that show, and my head couldn't have been hotter if it was actually on fire. So the next day, I decided I was gonna wear something a lot more comfortable. But I got a kick out of like taking pictures with people and stuff because I was very much a fall through the cracks kind of guy. Nobody really gave a shit about me, except for my own family, of course. But I went to the con and people were taking pictures with me and stuff, and I just kind of got this high off of it. So I did the Peter Griffin thing, and Peter's just one of a million voices that I've been doing for longer than I can remember. And I remember the moment that the real life Peter Griffin was born. I was at Artist Alley, the old Artist Alley, all the way down on the side of New York Comic Con, if you've ever been. Yeah. And they used to keep the ATMs over there. And a lot of the guys at Comic Con are cash-only businesses, so I had to take out money from the machine. So when the money came out of the machine, for whatever reason, something clicked in my head, and I was just like, oh my God, I won! And everybody within earshot just turned around and was like, holy shit, that guy's Peter Griffin! And they just followed me around for the rest of the day. And I figured that was like my 15 minutes of fame, and that was it. And I would just go back to my my miserable life. But
It got dark quick.
I've been making YouTube videos for 7 years now, and it really blows my mind that like it got as big as it did, because I never expected any of this stuff. I was just having fun with my friends, and I became like an overnight comedian somehow. I don't know. I guess it's a pairing of the voice acting that I can do, plus I'm pretty good at like improv, so I'm able to like get into the character, and it's fun. You make people laugh. You can literally say anything as Peter Griffin, and it's instantly funny.
true.
So what are some of the other voices you do?
Oh man, I do like pretty much all the Looney Tunes, the Muppets, all the SpongeBob characters. Kids love the SpongeBob characters, especially because I can have them talk to each other and stuff. Like if I see a kid and they say that they like SpongeBob, like, "Hey Patrick, are you angry too?" "Yeah." "What's the matter?" "Can't see my forehead."
That's amazing.
Let's get some Looney Tunes going. I'm really curious about that.
Amazing. Oh my God.
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
That's good.
You're despicable.
Oh, that one's awesome.
Wow, that's great.
I hate you, rabbit. I see, nice ball, but as sharp as a bowling ball. Pay attention to me when I'm talking to you, boy.
We're just gonna record a video.
That
We'll
is
just have him keep going in and out.
Yeah, just keep talking. Yeah.
Now you do. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is great, Robert.
I'm gonna blow up the earth. Isn't it wonderful? I thought I tore a putty tat. I did tore a putty tat.
Wow. Wow.
I'm telling you, it's they're all swimming around in there,
Mel Blanc is shining down on you right now.
Oh God.
Did you always do that? Did you always do voices?
I think it started with Grover and Yoda, because that's both Frank Oz, and I think he was the first one. Because Star Wars is my favorite of all time, and even as a little kid, I used to love Yoda. Yes, found someone you have, I would say. And that was the first voice. That was the very first one, and then it blew my mind that Grover and Yoda were the same guy. So like, of course, And that's really, I think my brother was actually the first one to do Grover's voice, because he used to have this funny song in one of the skits that he did where he was a waiter and he had to like try to remember his order. So he's like, "Round and tasty, on a bun, pickles, French fries, yum yum yum." And it's this funny song, and like my brother sang it to me my entire childhood as Grover, and then like of course I ended up doing the voices myself, and now I do it for his daughter, which is funny, but. Comes full circle. But yeah, voices have been a part of me for a long time now.
Have you always tried to do comedy with your voices, or do you just like doing voices and like the catchphrases and stuff like that?
Well, Peter Griffin was the first one that I kind of like, I guess, integrated my own type of humor with, because I'm very much off the cuff kind of humor. I don't really write jokes per se. I'm not really a stand-up comedian. I kind of improvise through. I have I guess a taste for comedy because I've watched so many people over the years. I mean, Robin Williams was one of my biggest heroes.
Oh yes,
Rodney
I love
Dangerfield. Oh man, Rodney Dangerfield was the king of one-liners, and that's kind of like what I do with Peter Griffin too, which is, I just drop one-liner jokes and stuff in his voice, but Rodney Dangerfield was the master,
Mm-hmm.
And he also had a black belt in self-deprecation.
I love him. I know. I love it.
What a crowd. What a crowd. I went to my doctor, Dr. Vinnigunboss. You know my doctor. He says, "Doctor, I wake up every morning, I look in the mirror, and I throw up. What's wrong with me?" He says, "I don't know, but your eyesight is perfect."
All right, Robert, you got to go on stage.
Yeah.
What a crowd. What a crowd.
So one of our producers.
No respect at all, you kidding?
Your old pal William Tucci, I don't know.
Oh, look,
teen sensation William Tucci's here.
The son
Teen
of
Sensation, Will Tucci.
Teen sensation, my ass. Good God.
Oh, jeez.
Tucci Jr. over here.
That's my boy.
Tiny T.
Love you too, son. But no, now, Robert, have you ever thought about going on stage? Like have you done any stage? I mean, you really should. I mean, unbelievable. I
got a face for radio, so I figured. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be cool, but I really want to be a voice actor in animation. That's really what I'd like to do. There are proper channels that you have to go through. I'm actually taking an online course right now by Steve Bloom. I don't know if you know who Steve Bloom is. He does a lot of voices over the years. Very prolific voice actor, and he has an online course called under Bloomvox Studios. And he has like over 30 courses that you can tap into and get like tips and tricks about not only voice acting, but any kind of acting. And I found that to be a pretty good resource. And I'm trying to like train myself. But yeah, I'm just trying to get there. You know, you gotta make a demo reel. You gotta live in Burbank in order for it to happen. It's a lot. But I'm getting there. You know, it's just been a long, slow process because you know I'm not even broke. I'm shattered. You know.
Now with your you go to all these conventions and things. I mean, have you had a chance to meet any of the voice actors?
Well, I did get to befriend Phil Lamar at some of the shows. He's a really cool guy. He does Ollie Williams on Family Guy, but he's also Samurai Jack. He's done a million voices.
Green Lantern.
He was even in Pulp Fiction. You gotta have an opinion, man.
Oh yeah, he's Marvin, right?
Yeah. He gets his brains blown out in the back seat by John Travolta. But I met Seth Green once at New York Comic Con, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, now that's
as Peter Griffin.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
They the security guys, I kind of like befriended them, and they let me like go behind the line to say hi to him real quick. I was like, just here to support my son while he's here. And he just turns around like, what is this? Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, we took a picture. It was cool, but awesome. It was a short-lived thing. New York Comic Con is really like a maelstrom. You really don't have long interactions with anything.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Now, my first exposure to you as Peter Griffin was in a documentary.
Yeah, so that was actually made by my friends, believe it or not. So it's just kind of been like an order of operations thing with Peter Griffin. Like I did that thing, like I said, in 2012, and then a video popped up like the next year on Reddit of me doing my shtick at that show. So there was it was well received. So I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. Maybe I'll bring the costume to other shows then. And I went to a small show in Pennsylvania. What show was it? I can't remember now. It might have been like the Great Allentown Comic Con or something. And
Lehigh Valley Comic Con, maybe.
One of those guys. And I dressed like Sergeant Slaughter from the GI Joes. And stuff.
Was it the Greater Philadelphia Comic Con? Because I think I remember seeing you at that one.
No, because that's at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. This was in a completely different venue. But yeah, the air conditioner was broken, and like I'm wearing this like really uncomfortable costume. So once again, Peter Griffin saves the day by being comfortable. And where I like right next to where I changed was like this panel room or whatever. And like I figured like I wanted to see who was paneling, and it was a costume contest. So I decided to jump on the back of the line and crack jokes and stuff, and I kind of had some fun. I had people laughing and whatnot. And then when I got to the microphone to introduce myself, I was just like, I'd like 3 hot dogs with mustard. Wait. This isn't the cafeteria. Damn it, Meg. And everybody was hysterical. So there was only like maybe 2 people after me. And then the 2 girls that were judging the show, they asked me to come back to the front. I figured they were going to yell at me for like cracking jokes and stuff. Because I was just being Peter Griffin. And they asked if I can keep the crowds entertained while they were trying to figure out who the winner would be, because they had no, cosplay was very much a new thing back then, where it wasn't like they had like people DJing it or kind of like hosting it and keeping people like the crowds entertained. It was really like underplanned. And I grabbed the microphone and I improvised an entire stand-up routine as Peter Griffin, which I still don't know how I did. And a video of that got like 1.5 million views on the internet. And I'm like, holy shit, who watched that 1.5 million times?
Wow.
That's one thing I noticed about watching a lot of your YouTube videos and stuff online, and you're just so good at being in character, like in that very moment. It's so like conversational. That was actually going to be like one of my questions, if you normally like write material, but you already answered it. You're just naturally that funny.
Out of my ass.
But that's why it's so good.
It's just
But long
natural.
story short,
Yeah, it's just natural.
from that stand-up routine thing that got like 1.5 million views, my buddy Eric that I used to work at my previous job with, went to college with these guys that were film students, and he kept in touch with them and whatnot. And they saw my video and they loved it, and they were like, "Can we like follow this guy around and kind of like find out why he does what he does and what Comic-Con is and all this and that?" So I was like, "Sure, why the hell not? Who am I?" And they interviewed me right here in this basement. In fact, on the opposite side of that little P-40 Warhawk over there was the chair that they interviewed me in, and they followed me around Comic-Con for 2 days, just doing my shtick. And I think they had like over 20 hours or something ridiculous of footage. And it's like, holy shit. And they whittled it down to like 3 minutes and change. And to give you a frame of reference of time, New York Comic Con is usually like Columbus weekend or thereabouts, like the first, second weekend of October. We didn't post this video until the first week of January because it just took so long. Because this wasn't like any kind of like actual project for us. It was just kind of like something we had fun with. We made a separate YouTube channel for it just to post it. And the video got over 1 million views in the first day.
Whoa.
We're like, what?
Crazy.
I think we ended the first day with like over 2 million views. And we were just like, what the fuck is happening? And I was at work too.
Wow.
So this thing's going like viral. And I look at my phone on my lunch break, and there's like 40 text messages from people like, you're fucking famous. Like, what? And I'm like, I don't believe this. So I still don't believe it. It's still kind of like a pipe dream to me. It's people recognize me all the time. I really don't know how to handle it because it's like I still live a very normal life. It's just sometimes it's like flares of fame,
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious. But I get recognized everywhere, and I don't even have to be wearing this to get recognized. I could be wearing a completely different costume, and they still know who I am.
Really?
Do you ever randomly just like talk in the voice just to freak people out? Like they don't expect it.
Just let it slip there a little bit, No, I mess with people in other ways too. Like I can make the sounds of like a vibrating phone and stuff. So in like dead sounds, I'll be like, and I make no facial expressions when I do it, so people have no idea where it's coming from. But I just love using my voice to make people happy. I'm an empath. I love making others happy because that's how I get my happiness. Literally, I absorb the energy of other people. So if they're feeling down, I'll pick that up too. But the opposite is the same. It's I can make a few people laugh, then it'll kind of make me feel better about my shitty life.
So has any of this garnered the attention of Seth MacFarlane?
Well, he's retweeted videos of me twice, so he knows I exist, and he hasn't sent me a cease and desist yet, so that's good. And then they actually referenced me on an episode of Family Guy last season. They had like a parody, like DVD commentary episode where it's like a muted episode, and they're like voicing over it like they're giving commentary, and there was a point where Seth MacFarlane reassures Peter Griffin that like nothing is going wrong in his life because they're all cartoons and they're all fake. And Peter Griffin's retort was like, wait, if I'm not real, then why does a fat nerd pretend to be me at every Comic-Con? I'm that fat nerd, so so they finally referenced me. So I'm technically canon on Family Guy. Technically. But that's cool. And then when I first went viral, there was this little cartoon that TBS had made of me, which was really cool. And it was a cartoon of Peter Griffin as God, like chiseling away at a statue of Peter Griffin with a nameplate Robert, which was cool.
Oh, wow.
And that was pretty dope. And it was like some kind of quote, like he made him in his image, like the Bible passage or whatever. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, yeah, and you guys weren't at New York Comic Con this year. Niall, don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
But but you were mob, bro. Remember you? I mean, you were just sitting there. You stopped by to say hello, and from what I saw, you forget it. People were just everybody, and he's Jennifer. You're the same way, just so gracious, to all the fans, and it's really cool. And I think that shines through your personality, because that you're like, yeah, sure. Remember I said, I remember I walked up and didn't I give you like $5 to take a picture with you? Yeah.
That next guy actually gave me $10. I mean,
That guy gave me $10.
So I wasn't going to turn it down, but
with you, so Robertson and all these people around him. So I walk up like they don't know who I am. So I'm like, can I take a picture with you? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I take a picture. I'm like, and I take out of my pocket a $5 bill. I'm like, thank you very much. He's like, no problem. And the guy goes, can I take a picture? The guy can take a picture. And he hands him $10.
I should have kept the trend going. See, I'm terrible with that.
You should have. Well, let's snowball effect and see who goes higher and higher.
I'm not greedy enough to think of these things.
So
hey, just monetize what you got, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing greedy about that.
Well, that's what I do with the cameo thing, which is nice.
Yeah. Now, Brian Blevins asked. Brian's actually one of our producers. He put in the chat. A lot of people go on these shows, right? And with you and your talents and whatnot, have you ever thought of like auditioning for like an America's Got Talent? Because he said someone very similar talents with the voices and everything almost won.
So here's something interesting. Back in 2015, when I did go viral, the show actually contacted me, the America's Got Talent, and they're like, we want you on the show, and like you don't have to go through the whole casting thing like everybody else. We just want you on the show. And I kind of like read into the contracts and stuff. And apparently with those shows, if you go on their show, regardless of popularity or fame or anything, for the next 5 or 7 years or something like that, anything you make, you have to kick a percentage to America's Got Talent. And I felt at that time, America's Got Talent is for somebody that's really not well known at all.
Yeah, they were contacting you in the first place.
Yeah, they contacted me. So it's like, I felt, maybe not. Maybe not. So I ended up turning that down. But I could have been on that show that year. I just turned it down.
That's kind of you know what though? Keep your creative rights. Don't let anyone take it from you.
I've learned more lessons in life from doing this Peter Griffin thing than I ever intended to. Number one, don't work with your friends.
Yeah.
At least don't start a business with your friends. Holy smokes, that's really my best advice to anybody that's doing what I do. Because I've had to restart my pages more times than I care to say. I mean, I should have like a lot more followers than I do, but because of this and that and the other thing, it's just been an arduous journey rebuilding my pages over and over again. But I have, and it's like that stupid line from the Batman movie. Why do we fall, Bruce? So So
is it that like working with friends?
Dust itself off, it's just getting involved with people and you think you can trust people and you can't. So
why do you think I do everything myself?
Well, that's it. That's see in the background. There's my grind, my Gears couch. Behind there is my camera right on the tripod over there. I got my lighting up there. I shoot my own stuff. The computer you guys are talking to me on right now, I literally edit my own. Yeah, I edit my own videos right on here. There's my Final Cut Pro 10 right there. I made this a solo show, so this way I can do it on my own, because I don't want to stop making content for the fans. That was never my intention. I wanted to keep this thing going as long as I possibly could, and I think I've done a pretty good job so far. I mean, I don't put out content as often as I probably should, but I mean, for somebody that's running their own show and working another job, it's it's tough.
It's a lot of work.
And I do keep up with, like I said, I make cameo videos and stuff, so that's like another thing on top of the YouTube. So it's just so many projects at once, and then that doesn't even bring up like con appearances and stuff, because that's like a whole nother thing, and it's tough trying to get to cons when I work a regular job and stuff, and I feel funny like asking off from work all the time on weekends, nonetheless, because it's like I have all these appearances that I have to make, and I'd like to make it to more shows, but at this point in my life, it's like every time I go to a show, I'm losing money because I'm taking off from my regular job.
Yeah. Right. Now, does your employer know what you're doing and understand what you're going for?
It would be like trying to hide that you're Barney the dinosaur. It's
yeah.
it's everybody knows. People, it's like I can't introduce myself to people anymore. They already know who I am before I meet them. It's kind of funny.
That's
pretty
cool.
cool,
That's
though.
cool though,
My
Yeah.
reputation has preceded me. What can I say?
So how many now? Do you have a one channel? Do you have multiple channels? What kind of YouTube videos are you doing?
So I have one YouTube channel now, and that's under The Real Life Peter Griffin. And I basically just make like grinds my gears videos on there. And sometimes I go live with my real life family.
Mm-hmm.
I have my real life Lois Griffin, played by Mandy Katana, one of my best friends. And then I have another one of my best friends, Anya Winchester. She dresses like the real life Meg, but she does like the sexy universe Meg. And I got my buddy Curtis has done Cleveland a couple of times. I'd like to get him to more shows as Cleveland. That was a lot of fun. I came across a paper mache Quagmire once.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
my
he had
God.
this big paper mache head. It was actually pretty hilarious. It was fun. But yeah, it's just fun. It's more fun to do it with people, and I don't know. It's just tough. It's tough to keep these YouTube channels because I won't mind saying it. I suffer from depression too, so to like have the willpower to want to keep going. When you're not feeling your best. Sometimes the Peter Griffin thing kind of forces me out of depression because like you need to do this now. You don't have time to get in your feelings and stuff. You gotta make people smile. Damn it.
Yeah.
Do you find that, like you said, that it can be therapeutic even to be able to do that because you are, I mean, let's face it, you really are spreading a lot of joy to a lot of people. I mean,
It's been therapeutic for a long time now, and I honestly don't know where I'd be at in life if I didn't start doing the Peter Griffin thing. Really.
I mean, have you ever thought like, all right, maybe it's time to hang up the white shirt? Have you ever had that thought?
Oh, I've had that thought a lot of times. I've almost given up a whole lot of times, and I've been, I've received pep talks from so many friends over the years that are like, if you give it up, you'll probably have a lot of regrets and this and that, and it's like, it's tough living up to an expectation. Yeah, I have this like legendary status on the internet, but I don't feel like a legend personally. I don't feel like I've done. I've had a wild ride. Don't get me wrong. I've met a lot of very very cool people over the years, but it's kind of like what I like to call the Davy Crockett syndrome, where it's like your legend almost outlives you, and it's like the more you put yourself out there, it's like the more people will learn about you, and maybe you don't live up to your own legend anymore, which is kind of funny. But I don't know. I really haven't gotten to that point yet because I mean, it's just cosplay. I dress like a cartoon character and I tell jokes. Sometimes I take it more seriously than I should. Really, at its core, it's just supposed to be fun.
yeah, but you also you're spreading a lot of joy,
and you do it exceptionally well. So I mean, you want to take it seriously because it's like it's become like who you are, right? It's almost it's your persona. It's a chance for you to be this character, bring smiles, crack jokes, and you're freaking good at it.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, Peter Griffin has been my salvation because it's my break from the norm. Because I've always been, like I said, a cog in the machine, and this is like my way of breaking out, or if anything, it's my ticket out.
Yeah.
Because it's really given me a lot of opportunities that a lot of other people wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely grateful to everybody, to the fans, to the people who have stuck with me all these years. I mean, I haven't made the best content in the world, and I haven't been the most consistent person in the world, but people have stuck with me anyway, and I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, Jennifer, and I just kind of want to extend this question because I don't think I really asked you this when you were on our past show. For you, have you ever hit a point with cosplay where you're kind of like, yeah, maybe I'm going to stop doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody kind of has that. I like struggle as well. I think like a lot of artists do, depression, and I went through like a really, really bad anxiety problem at the beginning of this year, actually. And I thought a lot about, just quitting because it just got like so bad. But there's just, when you're an artist and you're so passionate and you know the things that you do make other people happy, you're like, fuck it, I gotta do it, because you know you gotta be there for other people too, I think, in my opinion. And I think that's a lot with comedy. And you know, I might post pictures of my butt on the internet, but when people are like, wow, your butt made my day, I'm like, oh, thanks guys, well, I'm glad.
People's days, you know, that's
Yeah.
talent of itself. I get paid to keep my pants on.
I don't know, you'd be surprised, maybe you should try it.
There's a market out there.
Also, he's got 500,000 Instagram subscribers. Hey, who cares if they're inmates? You know, they like content too.
A view is a view, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I don't get tips. I just get
when they get out, so they'll be calling you when they get out, though.
Somewhere to rest their head.
Yeah.
So now you were saying something. So like, if anyone out there that's watching this, anyone that may watch this recorded through the universe of YouTube, now both of you primarily cosplay alone, or do you do it in a group setting?
I mean, I very much started on my own with the Peter Griffin thing. And I did it alone for many years. And it really wasn't until the beginning of last year that I started working with Mandy as the real life Lois. And then I ended up planning and then throwing my own convention last year at the Queens Theater in Corona, Queens. We called it Another Freaking Con. And my original idea, and this would have been insane if we were able to pull it off, we just couldn't get the permits or the budgeting for it. But I wanted to do a dunk tank with Meg in it. and my friend Anya had offered to be Meg in the dunk tank because she's just a really good sport about that kind of stuff. And we ended up canceling the dunk tank idea, but I was like, you know what? Why don't you come as Meg anyway, and you know, we'll incorporate you into the show somehow, because the main performance of the main attraction, I should say, of the whole con was a live fight between me and the chicken.
I saw that video with the chicken.
We fought like backstage WWE style. And like I mean, I put him through a garbage can and a table, and yeah, it was a whole thing. And we ended up getting Mandy to beat him over the head with a cookie tray. and then we had Meg come out and start kicking him, and then we just start fighting, and we're like, no, and then Mandy pulls her off, and it's really funny. But yeah, that's how she became my real life Meg, and then we started doing shows together, the three of us, and we're just one big, happy, dysfunctional family.
And the little dog, too, right? Isn't the little dog with you?
Yes, Joey. Oh, man. In fact, I have Joey upstairs. I'm actually babysitting Joey for a week because the Real Life Lois is actually going to be doing this really cool photo shoot in New Orleans. There's this cat lady thing she does, Chateau, whatever. And it's really cool. She does it with her friend Jen, who's a really, really insanely talented costume designer. She has a studio called Costumegasm Studios, and she makes her own stuff in New York here. And the two of them are going to be going and doing that photo shoot out in New Orleans. So I'm going to be watching the little Joey monster, the goodest bad boy. But he's a good dog, and he goes great with my Han Solo costume because he's got a little Chewbacca bandolier. So,
now, speaking of a costume and all, and what are you doing for Halloween, or what are either of you doing for Halloween? You guys do anything special for it?
You go first, like, Jennifer.
I don't think they like dressing up.
I don't know. I'll be in my pajamas on the couch eating candy, like watching movies or working. I think actually most times there's a convention like during the Halloween weekend that I'm at. So
are you watching Downton Abbey?
You know, I was just talking about that the other day. I was like, it keeps coming up. I really need to watch it.
Love Downton Abbey.
I know. We were talking about that last time.
Yeah, isn't there like 1 million episodes of that show or something?
It's 6 seasons, I think, I go on. I'm sorry. I'm finishing up season 5. and it's so good I don't want it to end. That's why I'm taking my time with it.
That's how we were with Gilmore Girls. Remember, Billy? Man, we didn't want that to end.
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh,
no, I
what?
didn't.
Gilmore Girls,
really?
I actually no. I was at
like,
a
no.
meeting at Universal when they were shooting the Gilmore Girls, and it was a Halloween episode. And me and my buddy walked because they shot it. The square of where they lived, I guess, was the same as a clock tower from Back to the Future. So my buddy Steve and I walked around there and saw all the fake stuff, and it was cool. But that's my Gilmore Girls story. That's
Very
it.
exciting.
Very exciting.
and we gotta give kudos. I mean, you're getting a lot of compliments out there, Jennifer, for your outfit tonight. Is Meg?
Oh, thanks.
Shut up.
I was just like, what? Peter Griffin, what? Hey. Hey. I don't appreciate that. I wish I could respond in some cool Meg like impression, but I'm not. I can't. I'm useless.
No, that's the perfect Meg impression.
Oh, that was great.
That's
oh,
the
okay,
perfect
good.
Meg
Oh,
impression.
I guess I'm just Meg in real life. I don't know if that's good or not, but like.
The real life Meg here again. We have two of them.
Oh no.
Isn't Meg the one with the that she put her hair in a pie and gave it to Brian?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Now, one of my favorite jokes of all
Shut up,
time
Meg.
is when Stewie was driving, was pulling Brian in the cart. No, on the bicycle, on the tricycle, and he did the knock knock joke.
What's the knock knock joke?
Oh.
Remind me. I wasn't in that scene. You know?
I love this one.
He goes. I can't do Stewie, but I'll try it. I don't do it.
Oh yeah, come on, give us your best Stewie there.
See that you?
Yeah.
He's like. All right, here we go. Hey, Brian.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And he's like, "Oh, what? Can you do Brian?"
I mean, I can do Brian. It's just a deeper voice of Peter, you know.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm riding my little tricycle, and I say, Brian, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Oh, no, you got to say, no.
Let me
Oh my
quickly
gosh,
email
this
you
is
the
the worst joke
You're
script.
ever.
supposed to say after knock
So
knock.
he
I mean,
goes,
Jesus.
yeah, I'll do it, Ray, I'll do it.
All right, you do it. You
All right, so they
you
try-
act out the
It's
scene.
your show. He's riding the tricycle.
I think Stewie's pulling Brian in a wagon on it from his tricycle, and he looks back and he says, knock, knock. And Brian goes, oh, come on. He goes, knock, knock. And he goes, who's there? And Stewie goes, your friend Stewie. And he'll always be there for you. It's freaking great.
I remember that. That's funny.
If we find that, can we play that on our channel or we get in trouble?
We'll get in
Well, you're
trouble.
probably gonna get shut down by Fox.
If we get shut down.
Well,
Nah, nah.
NBC shut our episode down when we played the Winona Earp clip.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
we're promoting that friggin' show. With
It was
with the
our
writer and the
second
show.
episode. I'm like hyped up because I got all my technology here, and I'm like, oh, and let's play a clip from your show, and it's all great.
And
And,
was like,
and then YouTube
know.
and the NBC attorney sent me a cease and desist immediately.
sir, you can't do that. You're not allowed.
They made me delete. If I cut it out from the episode, then we could have the episode back. So I had to cut that whole scene out.
Well, it's funny. So.
I love it.
Unbelievable. There's no yawning.
Now, Robert, have you with these conventions, and I know Jennifer. Now you set up its conventions. You've been a guest at conventions. You've been flown all over the place. New York Comic Con last year. You were a guest. You were actually working for Invicta. They sent you on a cruise when you were doing all your stuff. Do you guys set up at shows with booths? Have you guys done that yet? Because I see a lot of cosplayers doing that now.
I mean, I've been invited to a few shows. I haven't gotten as many invitations as I used to. Back when I first went viral, I was getting them left and right, and I was very much green to all that stuff too. So I really didn't know how to handle a lot of it. But yeah, I've done con appearances all over the place. I did Niagara Falls. I've done Terrificon. I've done. Well, I was never a guest for it, but I do I've done Dragon Con like 3 years. But I haven't gone in 3 years. I missed that show. That's a lot of fun if you've never been.
That is
That's
a
like-
lot of fun.
It's like Nerdy Gras if you've never been. It's
Jennifer,
4 o'clock in the morning getting
Dragon
beer
Con?
at Batman.
Yeah, I've been to Dragon Con twice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going next year. They invited me next year, so
Are we doing a panel?
I'm going to tell them I want to do a panel. If we do a panel and you guys go, now Robert, I'll talk to you about that afterwards. But we've got to if we do, let's try to do that. Jennifer, you have any plans of doing any conventions? Because I know you are with all your photo shoots and everything like that, and your
Yeah, I took this year off of conventions just so I could get kind of like everything else managerial wise. I mean, yeah, just so much stuff going on in my studio space. But yeah, so next year I'm going to start doing cons again. I just haven't started booking or planning, and I need to, like you're saying about, you having your tribe of people that you like to do cons with. I did a few cons by myself last year, and I was like, oh, this is so different and so not fun at all. So yeah, as long as I got like people to go with and everything, and we start planning, definitely more cons next year.
Yeah,
That's it. We'll squad up. That's all.
Squad up. There you go.
Would you guys ever be
It's not the
interested in
same.
going on a panel?
Do what?
Would you guys ever be interested in doing a panel?
Oh yeah, I do panels all the time
do?
whenever I'm like guest at shows and stuff like that.
I've done them too.
Oh,
yeah.
very cool.
In fact, when I went to Niagara Falls Comic Con a couple of years back, they gave me my own panel, and then I've done panels with Ivy Doom Kitty at New York Comic Con for body confidence and cosplay and stuff. And that
Yeah,
was
she
really,
does great panels.
that was a cool panel because it was just something else that we were able to like interact with the audience, and you really realize how many people are the same and gone through a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I did that panel with her, I opened up with how many of us have been bullied in this room, and like everybody raised their hand, and it's like it just goes to show that like it's been rampant for years, and it's it's something that we all have in common, and to be able to talk about it with people and have an open forum like that, and we had several people at the end of the panel come over and say, this really helped me, have more confidence to maybe do a costume that I wouldn't have done before, because people always ask like, what's your rules with cosplay and this and that. Number one, I'm no authority. I'm just a guy that kind of happened upon fame with cosplay. But if I had to create any kind of rule for cosplay, it's have fun. As long as you're not hurting somebody and you're just enjoying yourself, then have at it. Just do it. Makes you happy, do it.
Yeah, I seen Jennifer after our show when we were talking about you were mentioning some things about the cosplay community and all, and from what I saw, I thought it was like a lot of positivity, but it's just like comics, there's a lot of jealousies, it seems. I guess some cosplayers may be more popular than other, or say and I guess you're right, like being an artist, and if a lot of people struggle with things and then you find your niche, and then maybe there's someone that doesn't quite accept you, or they may have even a competing type of a cosplay. But it's interesting how, and that's why Nile and I wanted to keep doing this, because it's a really fascinating craft. It's amazing, the community. And I'm just wondering, do you guys think, now you've both been cosplaying for a while, when you first started, like Robert, you first started, it was fun. Jennifer, it's so funny that Robert, the first time he did it, he was a cowboy. And the first time I saw you were a cowgirl Wonder Woman. Yes,
yeah. And I actually started, this May was my 7-year anniversary of cosplay too. So we've been doing this just pretty much like the same time.
That's fun.
There you go. So did you guys see it changing? And I don't know if would you say it's changing for the better, for the worse? Do you see it, or just it's different? Like I've seen it change. I mean, you guys being really involved in it, and in a way, among the leaders of it, or the most recognizable ones, for sure. What do you guys see the state of cosplay today is?
I mean, with any collection of people over time, it's going to change because people change over time. I mean, I've seen a lot of great things come out of the cosplay community. I've seen a lot of, not so great stuff to come out of the cosplay community. That's really what any community you get involved with. I mean, there have been, marriages and like partnerships and stuff that have fallen apart, and it's definitely created rifts where it's like, who do you side with then? Who was in the wrong? And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, sometimes you don't know if it's elementary school or high school because of the way people act. And I personally have never gotten involved with any of that stuff. I don't know. As much of an extrovert as I may seem with the Peter Griffin thing, I really keep to myself mostly. I do these shows and then I go home. I don't stick around. That I really never did after parties. This year was the first time in the history of all this cosplaying that I've ever done that I went to after parties every night. I went to after parties every night, Comic-Con, because Thursday night normally I would never do an after party, but I was asked to co-host an after party at Blood Manor, which is a horror house that's in downtown Manhattan, and then the rest of the nights I guess I just kind of tagged along with other people, but yeah, the less involved you get with people, the less drama there is to come with it, and that's just the approach that I've always taken.
Jennifer, you found that too? Have you found that? Like, that's why you do think by yourself, like, I mean, again, when you're artists and you're involved with each other and doing things, you could see that, it's like bands, great bands break up, stuff like that. The same thing with you, Jen. Have you always been by yourself, doing your own thing and,
Well, when I first started cosplaying, I have a friend is actually the one that was, like I said, I was working at a comic book store, and she was like, "Hey, you ever heard of cosplay? Want to cosplay?" And I was like, "Sure." So I started doing this with somebody else, but kind of one of those don't get started doing stuff with your friends kind of thing. So ended up kind of not working out, drama, and yeah, it's a lot of drama. But I guess it's like, honestly, like most workplace, there's just drama that goes on in every office building. It's just a different kind of drama at conventions, and but it's kind of one of those things you can't really get away from it because of social media. So it's not just like an in-person, there's drama. They can follow you online and talk about you, message or whatever. I just don't get involved with any of that. Like you said, even though I might seem like an extrovert, I'm a super introvert, stay at home by myself. I don't do the after parties either. I gotta wake up at 7:00 in the morning to be at the con on time, and I don't have time for partying and drinking. I don't want to be hungover trying to interact with people the next day. No one wants that. So yeah, I gotta get my sleep, I gotta get my coffee, and I gotta get mentally prepared. I don't have time for all that drama and other stuff. So
wait, what kind of drama though is there actually built up though? Is it like a competitive of nature between cosplayers?
It really depends.
It's a lot. Most of it is just some people don't get along. It's just like I said, every other workplace. Just some people just don't like other people. But because I guess, I don't know if the social status of it or whatever, and because it's so on the internet, people are more, or you get the groups together and, oh, that person doesn't like that person. So then the group kind of separates and stuff. It's just, like you said, you don't really know if you're in elementary school or high school sometimes. But that's just life in general.
Industry. like us, us cartoonists and stuff, sounds exactly the same way, same thing.
It's like everything. So the mob seat, had asked a question, says, what happens to cosplayers when they get too old to cosplay? Do they find new characters or do they just call it quits?
I mean, I've seen people in their 70s dressed like Han and Leia, so I think I'm good for a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, my character's middle-aged anyway, so I'm still not as old as Peter Griffin is.
I don't know that we've really run into that problem yet. Like you were saying earlier, cosplay is still pretty young. I mean, you consider how long conventions have been around, and I wouldn't even say a lot of cosplay contests are still really even that organized. I feel like a lot of cons are still trying to figure out how to manage cosplay and the popularity and all the different stuff that comes with it and all the guests and everything. So, yeah, I think it's just... we'll see.
And thanks to Kevin Freer for a super chat. He says, congratulations, no thumbs down. So our serial thumb downer is not struck this episode.
Yes, we have. Speaking of people that don't like, and I'm sure they don't like me, unless Nile's got an ex-girlfriend out there or something. But I mean, I'm sure they don't like me. But we have someone that just comes and trolls. And right as soon as we start, they give us a thumbs down and leave.
Once I post hey, subscribe.
I had some guy. I had some guy doing that on my Instagram. Every time I would post anything about me being happy or anything motivational, he would always comment a thumbs down. So I blocked his dumb ass. I was like, that's fucking rude. Get out of here.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
is.
bullshit. Fuck
I
that.
wish
Like,
we can't
you get
do
your
that.
thumbs down emoji. That like affected me
You
more
can
than
take
it
your thumb
should
and
have.
shove it up your ass, sir.
For real.
And it really bothered you, right?
Yeah, I was like, that's just, come on, what kind of negativity is that? I mean, all it is just a thumbs down emoji, but I was just like, no, I don't like that here. Get out of
My
here.
YouTube
Yeah.
videos, I'm like, that's still a view, so what do I care?
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we had any
that-
questions, Niall, for our guests?
I have one question that I really was curious. When you said you started doing, like you're really trying to get into voice acting and not just like the Peter Griffin thing, what like style are you going for? Are you trying to do like, is there a particular, like, do you like dark and brooding? Do you try to do more comedy with your impersonations? Like what kind of style are you going for? Anime, animated, voice acting, like what kind of stuff?
Definitely animated voice acting. I feel like anime dubbing would be very hard to
Yeah.
start out with because you have to figure that's something that's already been animated, and now you have to fit your voice to kind of like match up the mouth. And I really don't know how those guys do it. That's really like I'm very impressed with what they're able to do. And I don't know. I just always saw myself as like maybe animation. Comedy would be great. You know, I grew up watching Roger Rabbit, and I think that's really what made me want to be a cartoon. You know, I realized two childhood dreams that they told me were impossible. Number one, I figured out how to make Halloween last all year round. I grew up with a cartoon character, so.
Very good, very good.
But yeah, I would just love to get into any kind of animation, and I mean, I have such a range with my voice that I could probably do any of those things. You know, I could do like a Roger Rabbit, or I can do a dark and brooding Batman the Animated Series. You know, it would be fun to play with them all, to be honest.
Yeah. It's hard to pick whenever you're like really passionate about something and you're just like, I love all of it, and it's hard to like pick which direction to go in because it's just you love everything.
Just got to figure a way to do it
Definitely
all.
feel more comfortable with comedy because that's what I've been doing for years. But I would love to tap into something that I haven't before.
Yeah. So we're starting to get, I think now that we mentioned some questions, people are starting to chime in now. TJ James asks, how do you guys respond to the artist criticism that cosplayers block sales for them?
Ooh, good one.
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like a tough question because I like when I first started cosplaying, I worked with a lot of artists, so like Booth Babe, where they want you to be in costume at the booth to like talk to people. And then a lot of times people are like, wow, I love your costume as, you know, Poison Ivy. Oh, look, that artist is selling a Poison Ivy print. That's cool. Like, so I feel like that's like a personal preference. Some people make it work for them. Some people don't. I mean, personally, like, I use a lot of artists as inspiration, like No Flutter. I did her Zatanna costume, and some artists are like, they don't want you to cosplay their designs because it's their designs, and some artists are like, oh my god, that's so amazing, thank you like so much. And she like at Baltimore was like, oh yeah, she remembered me and like wanted you to give me that print and stuff like that. So it's totally, some artists like super love it and think it's super amazing, and I guess some people criticize it, which in my opinion, I think more artists are supportive of it than the latter.
Yeah, because that was true. You know, I was walking through and talking to someone and, you know, networking, and I mentioned it, and she was like, oh my God. And then she was like flipping through all of her stuff, and she's like, you have to give this to Jennifer. I was like, okay.
It's one of
she's
my
like, she
favorite costumes.
cosplayed this. I was like,
Yes.
okay.
Oh, that's so amazing. See, that's like, Michael Juni is another person that every time I do one of his costumes, I'm always like, thank you so much for like letting me, you know, use your work as inspiration. And he's like, you're the best billboard that I could possibly have. Every time you post about, you know, me designing that, people come and look at my page and stuff like that. So most of my experience has been positive. I don't think that I've really ever had an artist or anybody tell me like, oh, you stupid bitch. I'm like,
yeah. Well, you know, also a lot of those people that make those complaints are these guys that, you know, they've never been published.
Yeah.
You know, they just travel from convention to convention selling prints of characters that they've never worked on, you know? So, you know, that's really, you know, who are they to talk, because they're selling prints that, you know, they didn't get permission from Marvel or DC to draw. So they really don't have anything to say about that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the discussion of art versus cosplay, and some people are like, they don't like fan artists, but they like cosplay, and I'm like, it's the same thing. I don't own any of those characters, and I've never drawn or written or been a part of any of that production. But if I make the costume and make the print, it's the same as if I had drawn it, in my opinion. So I think I'm same level as one of the convention fan artists.
And Brian Blevins asked, so now you've mentioned you've fought the chicken before, but do you actually have a video out there on YouTube fighting the chicken?
So yes, there is footage of it. It's on my old YouTube channel, which is not owned by me or affiliated with me anymore, but the videos are still up there. But there is footage of that match. If you look up Peter Griffin versus Chicken, I'm sure you can find it.
And then Lou T. Art asks, Robert, do you have any variant Peter Griffin cosplays?
Variant Peter Griffin. Yes, I have Peter Griffin Han Solo. I do Carlo Spicy Wiener,
Oh yeah, you did that at Terrificon.
Yeah, and I did I debut it at Star Wars Celebration? I might have, but I did.
At Free Comic Book Day too.
Yes, I decided to have fun with that. Yeah, we Free Comic Book Day this year. I actually went to go bug Billy. He was doing a signing on one of the local comic book shops because we both live on Long Island, New York. So
the best part of that was
she's here. I'm gonna go bust his balls.
Yeah, and then you just hear him, and then you just hear all these people around him, and you look, and there's a crowd, and then you just hear him, and he's like, I can't, like, what's going on here? What is this? What is all this? And they forget it. Then they forget about me and Peter and David and stuff like that. Everyone pays attention to Robert. That's why you should have a little tip jar.
Right.
So
I do have a tip jar now, and Mandy designed it for me. It's called Just the Tip Jar.
Perfect.
Was that at Terrificon too?
Yeah,
that was. I thought I saw that. It's right there as you're walking in.
Yeah, we had fun at that show. We even had Joey. He has this little Batman doll that he likes to hump, and we filmed him humping that in front of my buddy Matches Malone, who does a really cool Batman.
Yeah, Matches Malone. He's a great guy.
His face after that was so priceless. We filmed it. It was so fun.
Oh, there's another cosplay guest, Billy. We should get Matches on.
Let's definitely get Matches.
Yeah, get Matches on. Matches is the man. Does a lot of charity work.
A lot of charity work.
Yeah, we have to get him on.
And then let's see what we got here.
Jennifer. Well, yeah, it's a lot because Jennifer does the best Harley Quinn ever.
Oh,
yes.
Thanks.
Best, but
Thanks,
you really do. I mean, at New York Comic Con, you just forget that was amazing. That was amazing. I love seeing the little girls with you.
It's just like so crazy. Like I don't feel like I'm particularly like expressive, or especially like I don't have the mentality of Harley Quinn, but it's just so funny, like putting on a costume changes like how you act and interact with people. And then the second I watched some of your interview earlier, and you talk about just like the reaction of people to what you're doing just makes you want to put that much like more effort and fuel into it, and it really like drives you. And Harley Quinn is definitely like one of those characters for me that anytime anybody gets so excited, you just can't help but act like silly and animated because people just they respond to it. I guess I'm an empath too, so that makes sense.
Dr. Harley Quinn.
See?
Awesome.
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good.
So, Robert,
do you ever do voices when you're in cosplay, Jen?
No, that's the thing is, okay, so you talk like the difference between cosplay but then and now. Cosplay used to be like, especially for the really strict people, cosplay is costume play, as in like acting. So like true cosplay is more of like, he's probably more of a true cosplayer than I am. We actually go on stage, you perform a skit or an act, you're in character, you got all this theatrics. It's like theater, not just the costume. Well, I can't act to like save my life.
I don't make my own costume, so I don't know if it's considered cosplay either. So it's like.
Well, I guess the big thing is cosplay your way.
Cosplay, it really have a definition.
Definitely. Yeah. But I'm not an actress at all. I like don't do voices. I'm definitely really like too shy for any of that to even like try anyways.
I think of myself more as a bullshit artist than an actor.
So Robert, you saying that you're an introvert, right?
Yeah, I would
sort
say.
of an introvert, say. I mean, we have some good times, but or maybe you were an introvert growing up. And Jennifer, I think you said the same thing. Did you putting on this costume almost be like a Batman, like Batman, like he puts on the costume and he becomes someone completely different. Does the extrovert in you come out when you have maybe not a shield, but maybe that you have this thing maybe to mask your insecurities a little bit? Because it's incredible the reaction, and you guys see it, but you don't see it as much as we do, right, Nile?
Yeah. When
you see a crowd of people around you, and then people talking about you, and you too, Jennifer. Like I said, I saw with the little girls and stuff with you. It's pretty amazing. It really is. And I'm just wondering if you find that that does that help you with your insecurities or get you out of your insecurities that you might have had?
I feel like when I turn into Peter Griffin, it just kind of like wipes Rob away. Like Rob's not there really. It's more character acting, and I guess I do use Peter Griffin as a crutch because all the humor that I do as Peter is really just my humor with his voice, and I just feel like if I delivered it as myself, it wouldn't have the same impact or wouldn't be as funny if it wasn't coming from Peter. And maybe that's a psychological thing, or maybe it's true, but it's definitely been a mask, of course. Mm-hmm. I most people only know the online persona. Not many people know the real me. I mean, it's not terrible. I'm not Peter Griffin personally. I'm not really like him, the character on the cartoon. Peter Griffin's an asshole. I don't have it in me to be an asshole like that. I try to do the right thing. I like to make people laugh. I like to make people happy. That's really not Peter Griffin's shtick. Peter Griffin's shtick is always about himself and what he can do for himself. And, he's really like a terrible father and husband and stuff. And that's certainly not who I want to be in life. But it's fun to be able to put on those different masks and to step out of your own shoes, because that's really what it was for me. I guess it was a form of escapism that it has transitioned over the years. When I was a kid, I would play video games or toys and have that escapism. Then when I got to like middle school and high school, it was reading, and then it transitioned into the whole Peter Griffin thing. But it's always had the central theme of just not being myself.
Mm-hmm. Now the mob scene. Oh, I'm sorry, Jen. Go ahead.
Oh, I think for it's like kind of the opposite for me. I would say I'm not an introvert in that I just like to I'm a homebody, I guess is mostly what I mean by an introvert. I'm like the hardest person to get a hold of because I like never have my phone on me unless I'm like specifically working. So like when I go to cons, to me, it's more of like, all right, showtime. It's like time to like be entertaining and fun and positive and just like put all your energy out there. Mm-hmm. But it's like exhausting, especially doing like a con like all day. And you want to give everybody as much energy as you can from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. I try to start off, I let everybody know I got to have my coffee first so I can be there for you. And then sometimes halfway through the day, I'm like, sorry guys, I got to get more coffee so I can be there for you too. And like, you want to give everybody everything you've got the whole time. And it's like, it's really exhausting, but it's just totally worth it. Even like as an introvert, you might have to try a little bit more, but it, like you just said earlier, putting a smile on somebody's face just makes it worth it. So
well, I saw you drinking some coffee, which I'm assuming there's coffee in that cup, and I was thinking, what blend
coffee
is in there tonight?
Well, I got some like oat milk pumpkin spice pre-made latte stuff at the grocery store yesterday, so I thought I'd try it. It's okay. Oat milk. There's so many different kinds of milk now. Like I can't believe it. It's like coconut milk.
Milk oats.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know what it's made out of, but I'm drinking it. Adventurous,
really tiny hands. There's tiny teats
I have
on the oats.
Can you milk me?
Yeah. Hey, so we gotta to kind of go off of what you guys are talking about. The Mobsy asked, when cosplayers come out of costume, and I'll even add, let's say, character. Is there like a letdown period, like where the high is now gone and you're maybe downing from that?
I mean, when I take off the costume, I just lay down and die until the next day. It's like, you know what it is? Like she said, it takes a lot of energy to keep up with that all day, and I really seldom break character when I'm at a show, you know, because people just don't expect it or just don't want to see it, and that's what I'm there for. You know, I'm hired to do a job, and I take that job seriously, and when I go back to the hotel room, I'm definitely the type that likes to, you know, kick my shoes off and take my pants off and just lay down. And that's it. And it's like, once I lay down, it's I don't want to move.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, a lot of the times when I get hotel rooms for cons, I don't do the after parties, because once I get back to that room, it is over.
I eat first. The first thing I do is like, all right, I'm stuffing my face with as much food as I can get, and then you gotta go to
And then
sleep.
you get the itis.
I'm like, let's party. I wish I could do that. Stay up all night.
I think you did stay up all night in Baltimore.
I probably slept like 4 hours
you guys
total.
did. So,
But it was fun. It was good. You know what it is though? Like for me, it's like that. Once I get a crowd going, I'm like Energizer Bunny, and I don't need much sleep. And then I just pick up that same crowd the next day, and I just keep going and going and going. And usually I'll get a crowd around me. And once I have the crowd around me, I'm done. You know, I'll just keep going and keep going. But it's fun. It's a good time. You know, making memories and making friends.
That's it.
Now, Rob, I have to ask: are you a comic book fan? Like, were you a comic book fan growing up?
I was. Well, you know, I love the characters. I used to watch the cartoons all the time. I didn't get into the comics themselves until like more towards when I was like maybe 10 or 11. But like my early childhood, I think I had like a couple of comics. I was rough with stuff. I had ADHD, so like having stuff like books and stuff like that would just get destroyed. I used to love the Thing from the Fantastic Four. I think I used to identify with him the most of all the characters. And I had a couple of his comics. I had a couple of old 90s Punisher comics. But my brother was the big comic book reader when he was a kid. And he had like the 80s Spider-Man comics. And he used to like Superman and Wonder Woman. And he used to read all that stuff. So like whatever leftover comic books he had, I read the old stuff. But currently I've been reading the Star Wars comic that Marvel's been putting out, which is it's been a really good title so far. I'm actually several issues behind, but it's been a pretty good story so far. The Vader story was really good. I'm a sucker for anything with He-Man in it. They've done a few crossovers with him over the years. And I used to collect like Ninja Turtles and all that stuff. But you know, Star Wars is probably the only one I think I'm still reading today.
Did either of you guys see the Rise of Skywalker trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch trailers.
I didn't see it. Everyone's talked to me about it, and I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. There's like 10 million times I was about to watch it. I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. And it's like, what do you need now? All right. And then I got to go and take care of something else.
Yeah. Have you guys seen it?
I don't watch trailers. So, nope, I never watch any trailers at all, ever.
Really?
I mean, you must, because it's for a conversation.
Yes, fascinating.
No, because they're always spoilers. Like, you basically watch the whole movie. And so then, like, what's the point? And then, you know, you wait, it's like the hype, you're like, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. And then it's like the worst movie you've ever seen. So it's like, wow, I'm glad I've been waiting months for that to happen.
Yeah, I don't like to speculate about movies, especially when it comes to Star Wars, because I've been a Star Wars fan longer than I have teeth. And I remember a time when Star Wars wasn't popular, and because I was born in 1988. For all intents and purposes, Star Wars.
Me too.
There you go.
I thought you were a teen.
I'm a teen sensation.
Teen sensations never grow old.
He's 15 with 16 years experience.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When I was a kid, just people used to make fun of me for liking Star Wars. I had all the toys and stuff, and
Star
and
Trek's
all that
better.
stuff. And now you go into the fucking grocery store and there's like Darth Vader oranges, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with the world?
Yeah,
right
exactly. Yeah.
now? At least it wasn't bananas. Nobody likes when bananas go over to the dark side.
You're just so good at that. Like,
We live in a society where people will eat ass, but they won't eat a brown banana.
You've got to like audition for radio shows and stuff, like commercials and things like that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, audition for banana commercials. Convince people to eat the brown banana.
That would be fun. But I mean, if I did like commercial voice acting, I could actually stay in New York because a lot of that stuff is in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Because the animation voice acting is all in Burbank, but the commercial stuff is all out here in New York City.
I thought New York had it though. I thought some of the studios had affiliations here.
There may be some, but the major ones like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, like people you probably want to get a job with because the longevity and paychecks, they're all out in Burbank. If I wanted to do like anime, I'd have to move to Texas because the Funimation studios are out in Texas.
Yeah,
and then there are some that are located in Georgia. Like they make Archer in Georgia.
Oh,
really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Are you a fan of Archer?
I do love Archer. That show is funny.
Yeah.
Wait, do you not?
Dude, we gotta just come up with a list and just have him go through it for like an hour. I bet you he'll probably nail all of them.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I can't do voices that are voiced by women. I found that is one of my weaknesses.
So you can't do Bart Simpson.
I can't. It sounds terrible. I can't. I can do Homer though. I should mess with people. I should just go to a con as Homer one time instead.
Yeah.
Just mess with people. Beer, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Holy crap, he's so freaking talented. It's crazy.
Brian Blevins says Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. That's another one. People usually ask for Roadhouses, Shut Up Megs, and the Surfing Bird song.
Well, let's have a little Surfing Bird before we get into our crowdfunding call out. And I recorded that to end each episode that way.
There you go. Use that soundbite over and over. Get your money's worth there.
There you go.
Fantastic. Just fantastic. All right, should we launch to our crowdfunding call-outs, Nile?
Yes. So something very exciting. Our good friend Brian Polito has just launched. Let's see. He's in Arizona, right? Arizona. So
yes.
It just launched 16 minutes ago. Ooh. And he's got 29 days to go. He's already hit $41,580 in 16 minutes.
Damn, Daniel. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
Good for him. So he's got a launch party going on right now. I'm going to play the video for you all. And, Rob, when I play the videos, our guests can hear them. We don't hear it on our end because I just don't want any echoes. Whoops.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Polito, publisher of Coffin Comics and creator of Lady Death. Because you demanded it, we are back with an all-new, R-rated, 48-page original graphic novel entitled Hell Witch: The Forsaken. To avenge her murdered lover, Hell Witch slaughtered a queen and burnt her own hive to the ground. Now she has become Hell's most notorious rebel with a price on her head to match. Seeking sanctuary, Hell Witch struggles to learn the dark arts from the nefarious seance. But the sorcerer proves to be a harsh master, casting Hell Witch out until she could rid herself of the most dangerous emotion in hell: compassion. Forced to wander the wastelands, Hell Witch finds herself hunted by old enemies. They will stop at nothing to finish her and butcher the last survivors of her hive. A bevy of beautiful Hellborn, too innocent for the perils of the underworld. Can Hell Witch defeat her ruthless adversaries? Or will a twisted rival from her past annihilate Hellwitch's very soul? Find out in Hellwitch, The Forsaken, #1, a dark tale of forbidden magic, insatiable lust, and merciless bloodshed. Helping me unleash Hellwitch into an unsuspecting world is co-writer Mike McLean, illustrator Diego Bernard, colorist CeCe De La Cruz, and veteran letterer Marshall Dillon. Plus, we have a ton of amazing cover artists to warp your mind. Check this out. This project is done. All we got to do is print, but there is no doubt that we need your help to resurrect Hellwitch. Please pledge now and pledge often. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thank you so much, everyone. Because of you, Hellwitch lives.
There you have it, guys.
There you go.
Hellwitch, The Forsaken, #1. Insane. We need to get everyone check this out. You know, support it, share it. You know, let's see. You know, he's gonna hit crazy numbers with this book. He always does, and they're always worth it. I love all the stuff he's putting out. But Billy, man, we got to get some of that animation.
We got to get some of that animation.
We got to work on something for She, bro.
I know, bro. I know.
You know what I'm saying, bros? You know, bro.
Don't we have another Kickstarter coming out of Arizona?
We do, but she's funded tonight. We didn't make it on time. So Karen Nicole, she's funded. She's actually, I think, one of the top cosplayers to put on a Kickstarter and be funded. She was almost at 30 grand as a solo cosplayer.
That is so crazy.
Yeah,
that is so crazy.
Yeah, she's really cool. And we do have another shout out tonight. This one is for a good friend of ours, Caleb Thusat. He has Zed 1 and 2 limited edition. I'll play this video for you guys real quick, and then if you like, head on over and back this project. I have backed this project myself. I'm a fan of his work. Zed, I got to get my hands on at the Baltimore Comic Con. Loved it. His book Nook is fantastic. Billy and I have a copy of it. He's putting out some really cool stuff. Awesome artists he's working with. Great stories. So let me play this for you guys.
Hello,
brilliant
I'm
young
Caleb
man.
Toussaint, the writer and creator of Zed. Zed is a buddy road trip zombie superhero comic. Not your typical zombie story. I came to the genre trying to make it fresh and new, and I'll tell you a little bit about the story itself. This is a post-apocalyptic story set after an outbreak has already been eradicated, and although the vaccine can prevent the spread of an outbreak, it can't actually cure the people that have already been infected. So the story follows Zed on this journey of being a patient who was used to create the vaccine, and the process kind of left him in an altered, undead state as a cognitive zombie with the quote-unquote abilities of a zombie. So with the help of his friend Bill, who is a former mortician, kind of funny biker dude, they're now searching for the answers from his creator and want to learn what has happened to him, if anything can be done to be cured, and basically in the process learning to accept what he has become. So coming to this new Kickstarter, this is going to be a limited edition print of Zed issues 1 and 2 combined in a 52-page black and white edition. We have run both issues before on Kickstarter.
So guys, when you get a chance, check it out. Caleb's video is a bit longer. Just wanted to give you guys a preview of this. But check it out. You can see the rest of the video. Look at his reward levels. Everything's awesome, and highly recommend this book to you guys.
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely.
To be able to share this in the CDs. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's one of the brightest young talents out there. He really is.
I didn't have the audio. Is he the writer, the artist?
He's the writer. He's the writer of these books. So his background is film. And he's basically transitioned, writing for film and script, and a lot of guys have this background. And they bring it into comics, and his stuff's awesome. It really is good. He picks great artists, and he's very talented. He's got a bright future, I think, in graphic novels, comics, and he just sticks with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So man, Billy,
yeah,
episode 63. Coming to a wrap. And going strong. 63, Rob. 63.
That's a lot.
It is.
And thank Robert. Thank you so much for coming on. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on and being our cosplay confidential host with us. We hope that you'll keep doing it with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. You guys want to share? Robert, you want to share your Instagram, your YouTube channel, all that stuff?
Absolutely. So on YouTube, I'm just under The Real Life Peter Griffin. Same thing on Facebook. My Instagram is actually under my real name, at Rob Franzese. That's at ROBFRANZESE. And you can also book me on Cameo, which is this really cool app that you can book like shout out videos and stuff. Even Snoop Dogg's on the website. But yeah, this is you can, for like $20, I'll do shout out videos for your birthdays or whatnot. But yeah,
that's cool. Jennifer, do you do anything like that?
No, I think some of the requests I would get would be a little uncomfortable.
Okay. Well, what's nice about Cameo is if there's a request that you don't want to do, you can just cancel it. You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really cool.
That's nice.
When I get you, let me know. I'll get you hooked up with the people.
And what about you, Jennifer?
Oh, my Instagram, Jennifer Van Damsel. Same on Facebook. Twitter, it's just Jen Van Damsel. Jennifer was too long. And then Patreon and my website, I'm still working on it. So if you go to jennifervandamsel.com, it's still under construction, but it's a thing that now exists.
It's a thing.
And you have your Patreon, right?
Yes, and my Patreon too. Yes, join my Vandals.
Yes.
That's right,
Become a Vandal.
Become a Vandal.
Vandals.
Yes.
Yeah, I need you to record some cool intro for me.
In a world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, then you just hit it with some like metal music, you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely.
Jennifer Van Damsel.
Oh my gosh, that would make me sound like such a badass. And then it's just a picture of me going, like, looking like super cute. Just totally does not fit.
Coming to a Patreon near you.
That would be great.
That would be great. Have you ever thought about doing a Patreon to like just help with your videos and stuff?
I wouldn't even know what to post. That's really what it is. I guess I would have to create exclusive content for that, but I wouldn't want to be one of those people that gets subscribers and then don't post anything. I can't stand that. So yeah. I would definitely want to have some kind of lineup. Even if I did it temporarily, I would want to have some kind of lineup of content to ensure for the for the fans.
Yeah, it's a lot of work too. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, Jen, you work, geez, right? I mean, you're 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah. I work all the time. But that's okay.
Yeah. Do you find, I know we're heading at the end. Now, Robert gets recognized everywhere he goes. Do you get recognized, Jennifer?
Sometimes. Like, I have been recognized in, like, the fabric store. One time, I was doing a photo shoot under the freeway and an underpass. And somebody, like, commented on one of my posts, hey, I just saw you, like, doing a photo shoot on the side of the freeway. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was me. But actually, I just did a con, and I had my booth babe's name is Jonathan, and he's wonderful. And he does a lot of local cons with me. And people actually recognized him at the booth before they recognized me. Like, they came and approached the booth. And I was like, hey, Jonathan. Oh, hey, it's Jennifer. I didn't even recognize you. I guess all the costumes and stuff always look different. So I don't really get recognized that often in public. Or if they do, people don't ever say anything to me. But I guess whenever my hair is a different color every time I post a picture, it's probably pretty hard to tell.
Well, thank you both. Robert, seriously, thank you for coming on, bro.
Yeah.
Anytime, now, right, you want to let them know that, you're always part of our family.
Yep.
And Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on, and especially thank you for the Meg look.
Yeah.
Yay!
Putting that together.
But you know.
That was the highlight of my life when you're just like, shut up, Meg.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Sorry,
pretty
Jen, but it just
exceptional.
went
No, I mean,
pretty
it's
well.
worth it.
It was good
It's worth
timing.
it.
And we gotta have Rob. We gotta have Rob on some more. This is great. I would love to have him on more.
Would you come on too, Rob?
Would you do that, Rob?
Yeah, why not? You know, this is fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, guys.
All
Well,
right.
Yeah, we've been told to keep these short.
We
the
don't
short
listen.
Better.
We don't listen, Billy. We don't listen. It
That's
ain't
true.
worth it. We do what we want. So again, though, Rob, thank you for coming on tonight as our lovely guest, and
Thank you for having me.
And then Jennifer for coming on, being a wonderful co-host, guest special co-host with us tonight, and we've got many more down the road that we hope you'll join us for. And tomorrow night we have Mitch Breitweiser back on, discussing his new crowdfunding campaign, and we also have Stephen Peros joining us, right?
Yep, we're going to be kicking off Halloween.
Yes. And we have, well, I'm not going to spill the beans yet for my Halloween show.
Yes, don't.
Because I don't have all the guests lined up, but if it all works out, it's going to be pretty amazing. It's going to be pretty amazing. Yes. So Peter Griffin, do you mind sending us off?
Absolutely. You guys have been watching the Crowdfunding Comics podcast with Billy Tucci, Nile Scala, Jennifer Van Damsel, and yours truly, the real-life Peter Griffin Robert Franzese. Freaking sweet.
And with that, everyone, we'll see you tomorrow night, same time, 9 p.m. And Rob, hang on as we do our end screen, and we'll chat a little bit after the show. All right, everyone, have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you guys
Thanks for
tomorrow.
coming.
Toodles.
Jennifer, Robert, hang on.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Crowdfunding Comics. We look forward to hanging out with all of our crowdfunding fans every time we go live. And don't forget to click the link below and subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell, you may want to hit that too. This way you get all the great notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome content. You want to follow us? Sure, go right ahead at Twitter at CrowdFundComics with an X, Instagram, Crowdfunding Comics, and Facebook at Crowdfunding Comics. Till next time, crowdfunding fans, we'll see you soon.